Hello and welcome back to Gun Threat Travels, where this is probably the last video for a while in our projects that we would like to do series that I've been doing. I'm kind of recording these all on the same day and I'm just going to release them a week out. So at this point, this is probably several months into the channel of releasing videos, but I'm trying to do them all in one day while I have everything kind of in my brain housing group. So that's just kind of the way I'm doing it. Anyways, today's topic is going to be the stove and microwave situation. We have some changes that we would like to make because there's just some dissatisfaction on my part and my wife's part about how the way all of this is, and we would like to have some better options as far as how we do cooking in here. So before we get into all of that, I'd like to ask you to hit the like button for the video if you get anything out of this, because it helps the algorithm spread the video out to more people, and we are trying to reach 1,000 subscribers as quickly as possible, so click that subscribe button. The number doesn't go up unless you actually press the button. Do it now. So our plan we have right now is we have the standard gas range / gas oven, right? Which is, you know, it's serviceable, it does what it needs to do, but you know, it's kind of a small. It only has a few burners, and to be perfectly honest with this specific unit, the height for the grating there is so high that to boil water or get any kind of serious heat, you have to have on whatever it is that you're heating up, because the pan is just so far away from the flame, and the flame isn't that strong. And so, like, for me to boil water at all, like, it won't boil unless I put a lid on it, or it takes like an hour and a half to boil. So I'm kind of unhappy with the stove in general because of that, but it's also just, you know, it's kind of a pain. And then obviously, if you know anything about these RV ovens, you know the space inside. Like, I know it looks like this is a big spot, but this entire under part here, you can't use that. That's a burner. Like, this is a burner that's in there. I'm using it for storage now, but when you're using this, you can't have anything down here. There's a big fire that happens down here. So this little space up here is the have when you're using one of these units. And if you want to put anything in the oven that's like even reasonably substantial, you can't, because it's a tiny little thing. And then the problem is that you can't set a temperature on it either. Like, it has these little temperature on the oven right here. Like, it has pilot and all that stuff, and it has temperature numbers on it. The thermometer that I have in there, and there's a reason I have that thermometer in there. It's because those numbers don't really mean anything. Those numbers set the nozzle for the propane, and then it gets it around whatever temperature you're trying to get, but most of the time it way overshoots it, and you end up burning your food because it doesn't actually, like, the temperature thing there doesn't really mean anything. You have to actively monitor your stuff. It's not like an electric oven where you can set a temperature and rely on the fact that it's going to be that temperature. It just doesn't work that way. So the biggest reason why we want to change things in the kitchen is because we don't, or at least my wife doesn't. I don't know how much my wife cares about it, but I really don't like this gas stove setup. Now, I don't have a problem with gas. Don't get me wrong. Gas stoves in a residential unit and gas ovens in a residential unit with full-on modern technology to monitor temperature and things like that, perfectly fine. Love them. I like them better than electric. In this particular situation, though, these aren't meant for serious everyday cooking. And for someone like me who lives in my trailer, and me and my wife who live in my trailer, we really need something that's a little bit better. We also have this microwave here. I'm not going to crap on this microwave because it actually is a pretty decent little unit. It's a little underpowered for what you would like to do, but again, they designed this for an RV, which is supposed to be something you use every once in a while. It's not supposed to be a live-in, everyday use kind of thing. So they didn't really put anything in here that's intended to be used that way. We're just doing it. So while this is a perfectly serviceable unit, it's a little underpowered. It works just fine. If it weren't for the stove, we wouldn't have any reason to get rid of this, but I'm going to tell you why we're probably going to get rid of this. It's not because of this, it's because to swap out this, there is no really good reason there is no really good option that I'm aware of to replace this oven with something that would use this space in a reasonable way that's still gas, right? And I'm pretty sure you have to replace this entire thing if you're going to take it out anyways. I don't think this is modular. I don't think you can take part of it out and leave like the stovetop, or take the stovetop out and leave the oven. I wouldn't want to leave the oven anyways, but I'm pretty sure you have to take all of this out as a unit, and you can't use it half or whatever. So what I want to do is I want to get one of those really big, like 2, 3, or 4 burner induction cooktops, right? And then figure out a way to build like a frame or something to set that down in here, and then come up with some kind of finish to put around it. And then we'll have an induction cooktop here. And then we want to get one of those 4 all-in-one microwaves that does microwaving, ovens, broiling, all of that stuff. They're like, you see them available on Amazon. I want to find a pretty decent high quality one that we know is going to work. And then we'll have an induction cooktop on the top, and then our microwave slash oven slash air fryer, right? Like, they have units that do all of that stuff now that you can buy. So what I want to do as far as the kitchen goes, my wife wants to get a full-size residential fridge, and I keep trying to tell her that while it would be nice to have that, there is something to be said for having a gas, the ability to run the fridge off of gas. As much as I want, I'm kind of on the same page with her with that, mostly because I hate having to go get propane. I know for most people who only do RVing every once in a while, it's not that big of a deal to go get propane. But especially in the wintertime, when I'm having to run the furnace on this trailer, if I'm not able to use the electrical heaters and I'm having to use the furnace, I'm having to go get 2 cans of propane every week, or every 10 days or something like that. Like, the furnace in this thing burns through propane like it's going out of style. So over the years that I've been living in this thing, I've gotten pretty tired of having to go get propane. I really don't like doing it. So while the stove doesn't really use that much propane, it's one less thing using propane, which pushes propane refilling further and further out, and then I don't have to deal with it anymore. One of the things I would be interested in doing would be to remove the propane furnace entirely and get a diesel heater. Not sure, I'm still on the fence about that. If I could get it to work really well, and I could completely remove propane from my trailer, well, I wouldn't be able to remove it completely because my water heater runs on propane, and there is no really good non-electric option for that. And I don't really want to go electric for that, because that would be a real pain trying to figure that out, and I don't want to do it. I don't want to do that. So I won't ever be able to get rid of propane completely, but if I can minimize it down to the point where I only have to get it once every 6 months, I would really like to get to that point. But yeah, I really want to. The other benefit of getting rid of the gas stove here is just the fact that, it puts out a lot of heat. So anytime you're cooking anything in here, most of the heat that's being produced by that flame is coming into the room, and now you're having to live with that heat. You can't escape from it. The air conditioner turns on if you're plugged into, shore power. It would be much better to have an electric option there, because realistically, most of the time you're not really going to be cooking that much. So if you're in an off-grid situation, ideally you have the battery capacity to run your stove for cooking. And especially once we get like solar and all of that stuff, I'm hoping that we'll be able to just make sure we have enough generation and storage to be able to run the induction stove, and then occasionally do oven related stuff. But I would imagine ideally we'll have a generator and some other things. Like our plan is to get to the point where we can stay away from RV parks as much as possible, and preferably boondock as much as possible. I really want to get the trailer set up for that. And while an electric stove isn't necessarily ideal for that, with enough preparation, I think we can figure out how to make it work. There's enough people out there who do boondocking, who have induction stoves and things like that, that I'm sure it's relatively easy to figure out. You just got to go through the stuff to get it figured out. But anyways, that's the project we want to do for the kitchen. I think that's the last project on the list of things I want to talk about for the channel right now, which means that I don't know when the next video is going to be that comes out. We do live in the San Diego area, and if you guys have any interest in seeing some videos of us doing things out and about, we can possibly accommodate that. The funny thing is that as much as I want to travel, I'm also very much a homebody, and because I've lived in San Diego for most of my life, I don't really have a lot of motivation to go anywhere and do anything, because I've already done everything around here, and I don't really want to go do it again. But If you guys have an interest to see something specific in the San Diego area, let me know in the comments, and if enough people are interested in us going to showcase something, maybe we'll get off our butts and actually go do that. So be sure to stay subscribed to the channel, leave comments and interact and all of that kind of cool stuff to help the channel grow. Hit the like button to spread the video out to more people. Hit the subscribe button to help us reach that first magic 1,000 subscriber mark. It's very important. The number doesn't go up unless you actually press the button, so do it now. Again, thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys got something out of these videos that we produced so far. They're not anything crazy, but at least it gets you kind of up to speed as to where we are. So thank you for watching. Be sure to come back for the next video whenever it comes out, and I'll see you then.